Hey, it's working. Fuck yeah, I must have done something then. Now I gotta do something right here. Okay. Alright. Mm, mm, mm. Okay. Alrighty, guys. So one thing that I want to start off with the S&P 500. I know I haven't been here for a minute. I've been slacking, but hear me out. So look at the play. Look how it's all about how they play with your emotions, right? We're all used to seeing these numbers when they break out. If they break out, where they're gonna go, especially when you follow a bunch of these influencers, CNN, NBC, all this shit. All this shit matters. And where they put certain data, information, impact, news, and matters where they put it. All this matters what time it's a correlated, it's numbers. That's what I keep noticing about this whole world. Numbers are very important. It's fucking crazy. And so, anyways, um, let's go over the play. On Friday, we end up closing with the new all-time high for the S&P 500. Well, let's go. Let me see if I can do this right here. Okay. Now look at this. Somebody took a look at this. All right. So anyway, so here you have a trend line that we were on, right? This is December 10th. Powell came out with his cutting interest rate. So on Thursday, of course, the market opened happy after he announced the market would draw down. Like, like all fucking cases, every time this happens, the market then comes back up the next day. But after that, we started getting bad news. I think it was Oracle. It was either Oracle that made us dump. It was two companies, two AI companies that came out with bad earnings, which I had no clue they were gonna come out with earnings the next day after Powell released this shit. What a fucking coincidence, right? So after everybody's like, fuck yeah, new all-time highs. Woo, rally, Santa rally, here we come. Bad news the next day, bad news the next day. The market after that, the market's panicking. And again, just like that, we're back to all-time highs. Why? Because we got bad data. And pretty much the Fed was telling us, yo, if the market, the way we see it, is all right for right now, we don't really see more interest rate cuts coming up unless, like they always say, unless we see any bad news, any bad labor market, then we'll have to step in and whatnot. But besides that, what didn't make the market go down was that they pretty much are doing QEs. Pretty much they're printing money, which is bad for the dollar, good for the stocks, and so on. So what that what sustained it in a long, and also if you've been following this type of market, your labor they tell you we care about the labor market. If the labor market isn't screaming, we're not gonna step in. If certain shit is looking alright and the labor market isn't fucking dropping, then we're good. But if at some point the labor market is looking bad, or certain reports are looking bad that involve labor market wise, unemployment, wage, all that, then we're gonna have to step in. So as we get these bad numbers, that's when the market starts recovering. Again, back to the all-time high of Powell talking. On top of that, it was coming to the center rally. We were coming to the 20s. So the center rally, we reach a new all-time high again. So this must be the center rally. And again, psych. And then one last time, this is gonna be it. And no center rally, canceled. Back to the same area now. And right here, what was it? What was it that happened on the Thursday? I know it was fucking some data. Either data and looking out forward for Friday. We'll probably have some big news on Friday. I could probably go back, check ChatGPT or something, or even go on here real quick. Last week. So, anyways, so something ended up making the market go back up. I'm trying to think. And then here came Friday. Let's play one. All right. So here came your Friday. And we reached a new all-time high. And over the weekend, you had, I think, the tariff announcement was going to be made on Monday or Tuesday about what they were going to do with this. So they were cautious. Not just that, you had banks coming out on Tuesday, I believe. But we also had data, and not just that, on Sunday, and the last fucking day of the weekend, they end up throwing the announcement of Powell. It happened sometime either early in the morning or sometime at noon. And from that, even it was weird because you had Sunday, Sunday open out coming bad, but then as the market ended up opening, it went to all-time high again. So on Monday, I was like, nah, this is a fake, because if you would also been looking at the Nasdaq, if you go to the weekly, I kept saying how it's warning me of a fake rally, that we're not gonna continue going up. We're like a plane that all of a sudden lost one of the engines and is trying to keep up with its altitude, and with the current, the wind and everything. Imagine if we're going through a storm. You can now imagine how high the fucking airplane is moving. We're at a high fucking altitude with one fucking engine going. That's how I saw the market. That's what the Nasdaq was telling me. Especially, like I kept saying, the Nasdaq. If you look at the Nasdaq and S&P and the all-time highs and the weeklies, I noticed something very important right here. The S&P on the weekly of January 5th, Monday, we created a new all-time high. Not that day, but we created a new all-time high for that week. But if you went and checked the Nasdaq, January 5th, Monday, it didn't create a new all-time high. And it barely broke this crucial weekly resistance that the market couldn't pass since December 1st. But the fact that S&P was at an all-time high, yet the Nasdaq wasn't breaking, it was barely breaking that. That's what got me thinking, if next week, the first 2-3 days, we start getting bad news and it brings us back down, that's gonna bring the S&P back down to the crucial resistance, the new all-time high, the old weekly all-time high resistance that it was. It would have broken that below it, coming back down to its normal prices from last week, and then since Nasdaq was right here at these weak ass prices, then any fucking big move Monday and Tuesday will bring the Nasdaq back down here, back in that area. So all you need to we need to hold this price right here, 25,698, and that was a short price. So I knew if the Nasdaq, if we had bad news next week, pretty much you would have seen, watch. We would have seen the S&P 500 come back down to these lower prices right here of 6,937, which was a weekly resistance. And then from there, depending if it kept holding and breaking on down, you would have seen also the Nasdaq pull even more harder on down. And I think I said in one of my videos right here before I did this shit, because I've been pointing the fucking Nasdaq weekly area since, let me see, since that day, since December 5th. But even before this, I was capturing all this, the upward movement that it has, but yet flat. Pretty much the market was doing this, squeezing. See, the weekly trend line going on right here too, part of it. That stretches out all the way down here, I'm pretty sure, somewhere, probably right here. Much. I said too much. Yeah, right here. Right here. That one, and then that one currently right there. Sorry for all the fucking bullshit lines. So, my instincts were right about this shit. And now let's go to the daily. And go to the 1 hour candle. So again, and then here was the next warning. I saw that on the Nasdaq, we created a double top on the 1 hour time frame. I was like, hey, that's not good, especially if we're closing Friday high to yet announce this shit about Powell and the whole tariff thing on Monday and the banks. So here you had, who knows, hedge funds, investors seeing the outlook for this week like I do. I like keeping up. If we're right here, I look out for next week. What are next week big moves that motherfuckers are gonna be looking at to impact the market? I already know what's happening this week. I already see the banks. I already see all this and that. First of all, I'm gonna also pay attention to what happened over the weekend. Will it be? It's normally some sort of have to do with wars or but the market, yeah. Though normally it's your Sunday is your impact day because futures open at fucking 3 p.m. So having that 9 in the morning, 6 in the morning, whatever, but just a Sunday impact day, just it's just the market starting and here's a bang. We're fucking sending Powell to court and this is that. So all of a sudden you have this, oh shit. And we got fucking data on Monday and we got starting banks, yo. So fucking whoever it is moving all these fucking gadgets and up and down is moving the market on down, and that shows you how much cautious the market is. So then as you start with the Monday, And I forgot what data it was. We were having, let's see. I can fix that real quick with my handy dandy Mr. ChatGPT. Yeah, so Sunday we fucking went back down. The market was very cautious, nervous. Future is driven by positioning, no fundamentals. Market already leaning long, but not hedged. We want upside, but we don't trust it. And then it came Monday with tariffs warning about decision. I think it was gonna be on Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday. Also, new tariff announcements. Okay, no, fuck that shit really. Tariff, inflation, Fed stuck. Growth is fine, policy risk just went up. Because now you're talking about the whole Fed. Okay, the market is doing good, but what about the Fed? Because also you gotta fucking remember this shit. And he said it too. It came out from the fucking the mouth from the dragon and shit. How the fuck you want to see fucking Powell? Because at the end of the day, none of these fucks are good guys or bad guys or good guys and shit. So you got the Fed coming saying like, "Yo, I've been doing this shit for so fucking long. I make a lot of fucking good money. I'm well established here. Why the fuck would I go and fuck up my career based on this shit? Like this fuckface, sorry for that, wants to just think about how much he's Yellow Man has been saying. I think Powell's stupid. You know, I should have cut interest rate by now. The market should have been this and that. Blah 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 blah. Pushing. Because when you see these comments, they're not just people just say, "Oh, it's like TV and social media." It's like nothing. Like you gotta remember these people's ego. You gotta understand the man's ego. You gotta understand the man's brain, how he likes to be seen, how he talks about himself. So you coming in public to a site where you guys were having construction in the Pentagon, and then both of you guys have your helmets, your construction. You say one price, he says another. Something's wrong here. Powell tells you, well, hey, yo, I don't know who the fuck you talk to, but this is wrong. These aren't the right numbers. Like nothing happened. That was a long fucking time ago. All of a sudden, yo, I'm gonna take you to court. And also just announce it on a Sunday before the market opens. When it's at its all-time high. So the fact that it was a fear also of the Fed having an announcement of the Fed that brought the market down, besides the banks, besides the data coming out, because also the uncertainty of like, are they gonna do it? Is it gonna happen Monday? Is it gonna happen this week? Is it and just the news of it, the shock of it. So also, if you see how and where and how Trump has been making all these moves towards him, hinting it like, "Yo, you better do what I do," or I'm getting sick of you. This is a move to get him out. This is a move to pressure him to do what Trump wants him to do. Also, if for whatever reason he does get caught or does get a guilty sentence or guilty for it or found something, then I wonder how the market would take that in, because it will either be some sort of spike in the S&P or the Nasdaq and crypto maybe too, because we've seen, and he said it, who Trump wants to put in replace Powell in May, because this can be done in May. So what a better way to push it for a little bit closer forward by trying to get the guy pushed out by some sort of accusation or whatnot. And then also, if that happens, I'm saying that the market might spike because there's gonna be this guy's gonna have his nose up in Trump's ass, and he's gonna do whatever Trump says. So if that happens, that's why I can see the market spiking for just maybe a day or two, whatever. If that would happen in some sort of whatnot. So yeah, let's go back to the stocks or to the sentiment. So here we had, this was Monday, and it was cautious. I was seeing that, you can see that cautious, not dropping, breaking crucial levels, because you also gotta remember that we have crucial weekly, dailies, or whatnot in this area. So here we have Friday. You can see how Monday and Tuesday, even though they dropped, the biggest was on Monday. But besides that, um, the market is not crazy panicking or whatnot. But it's just very warning, very cautious to me, especially now being down here. 25, 33. That's fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy. On the daily, I'm here. It shows you that, and on the weekly, it's showing you that it's down here. But on the daily, it's telling you right here how fast the market recovered. So look how they're shaking you off, but at the same time, look how the market is playing. Look how wobbly, especially the S&P, does this wobbly outward. It's like a plane going losing an engine and just stalling or going up, trying to pick up, stabilizing. That's how we see the market right now. And then if you go on to Tuesday, that's the Tuesday where your Supreme Court ruling. And notice that day, watch on here. Watch out on Tuesday, on Monday. Yeah. Watch out on Monday. It just stabilizes and stays there. It doesn't keep on going on up because of the Fed coming out with the decision. Notice how even the whole day, and then we're coming on to Tuesday. You see how neutral it was, even Tuesday, because everybody was scared. What was the decision going to be with the Fed, along with the data that came out, along with the banks that were going to be releasing their data that morning. So the market was so scared. Here you have 6 in the morning releasing the data right away, 7 in the morning. Also, we closed a forward candle at 7. Then your next forward candle would have been 11. So your 10 o'clock would have been an important area to pay attention to for the S&P. Here we have 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and then 10. 10 was very important because we closed a forward candle at 11. So your 8:45 to 9:30 is very important to see where they're at. Especially if you would pay attention how there was a 1 hour 50 Fibonacci. On top of that, plenty of looking, pay attention of the high time frames and whatnot, which I'm not gonna go into. So here we have Tuesday, and we also had fucking data that day, and it wasn't that good. So now we were hoping for Wednesday. We're coming to Wednesday, and it was that PPI data and what else? PPI, retail sales too. They're strong too. So you don't want retail strong. You want them to go weak. That way, it shows weakness in the market about consumers. You know so that's bad. And then sticky inflation too. So consumer strength. Yeah, it's good for earnings, but not good for like us or whatnot. You want to seem like we're not buying that much. Bad inflation. And let's now play it. All right, so I'm gonna turn this shit off. Another thing that I was paying attention to was the daily trend line that we went on. Bounce on it, and we were coming down to it. Not just that, also in the higher time frame, your 12-hour candle, I believe. Let me put my indicator on. This area right here was very important to hold. This area here, so the fact that on Wednesday we came to, on Tuesday we came to that area. Also in the 4-hour time frame, right here was very important. This was telling me if I would have been up and doing day trading, the fact that we're right underneath the 450 Fibonacci, the fact that we're coming to the data will be coming out this morning. On top of that, with the bank's earnings and all the other extra bullshit, but that data was important. So the fact that we formed a perfect 3 candle box here right underneath it, so there's a 4 candle tell me that this closes at 7. So we're gone right here. Right there. And here we have 3 in the morning, which is when we close one of the 4 candles. So the fact that we closed that 4 candle and it broke down like that from there, that would have told me that that was the beginning of a big incoming drop. That way, I'm trying to take this shit off. That way, the traders or option callers or whoever else outside of day trading can really get into this. Also, even day traders, they missed this drop. From right here, you're not undecided of will it go up, will it go down. But if you don't know what you're looking for, first of all, you're waiting for the data to come out too, and you're also waiting for the candles to tell you. Here we form another not so perfect 3 candle box. That gave you the pattern right here. This little box, whether you make it or break it. Here we have 4, 5, 6. Data comes out, dropping. So you would have been still holding on this day trading, and then your next target to me would have been that trend line. And if we broke that trend line, depending, also once the market did this up right here, once it opened at 8, I was like, nah, that ain't it. It's not gonna recover. It's a fake out. It's gonna go down. It's stupid if anybody wants to do call options or day trade for long on that bitch. It's gonna continue going on down. It's most likely gonna stay stuck underneath that daily trend line. And then the other thing that gave me the red flag was the NASDAQ weekly 3 candle box, which it broke this last week. I mean, this last month. But as the market was up in here, I was like, no, it's a month that closed down. So even though it's up right now, it's still too early. We're on the fucking second week, I want to say, right? Yeah, we're in the second full week. I was like, we're probably most likely the last 2 weeks is really gonna tell us where the Nasdaq is gonna go, and most likely gonna continue with this pattern. Or what we will see is create some U pattern, but it'll be towards the end of this month that we really get especially with earnings and all that. That could really, depending how we close this week too. That's why this consolidating range is very important too. So if you missed out this dropping, this is really keep going. And especially as we keep coming to next week, we're gonna be coming up to most likely like Tesla or Microsoft and all them too. A lot on top of that with fucking data again. On top of that with more war shit, with more federal comments, tweets, whatnot. But again, Nasdaq was fucking telling me since December 5th. Like, yo, why is the S&P flying up high and the Nasdaq still struggling to even break this resistance in December 1st? Something's not right here. But so far, also the S&P hasn't really told me a big warning. This is the first warning right here. The big warning is what we come to me till we come to 6,871. It's gonna be your nice bottom, and we're gonna have again with earnings and bullshit. I wonder if we're gonna fucking just sort of do this consolidating and rally bullshit or whatnot, and then finally somewhere after earnings, with earnings, either because if you see what's going geopolitical wise with Iran, with Israel, with the rest of the countries, like it's a whole big. It's gonna be interesting, man. And then gold took a hit also in silver because of the same issues, but now they're flying like crazy. So right here, you had what was it? What was it? What was it that hit fucking? I think it was today's data, but I forgot which data it was. Oh yeah. Dollar. Right here. So here's my bad. Let me take my bullshit off. Here's the dollar. Let me show you guys on the daily. We could potentially be forming a daily 12-hour double top. You'll see the dollar go back down, and it's important where it's at right now because it's right above, hanging above a daily 50 Fibonacci on a 3 candle box. But we're also currently, like I said, on a 12-hour double top. If we keep struggling with this and the dollar starts retracing on down, trying to then test again that daily 50 Fibonacci right here, which is 99.79, then that's when you're going to potentially start seeing silver really breaking out of that range. Otherwise, if the dollar gets stuck right here in this range, and they finally maybe a daily or the end of the week, we see the dollar break above that 99.200, then that's when you're gonna start seeing either silver consolidating or dropping down a little bit and just consolidating in that range, and also gold and silver. There's gonna be have to be a big move to and then if they drop down below that daily Fibonacci into this zone right here, into 98.47 and going on down, then you're gonna start seeing gold and silver start spiking up again. But if we continue with this and we close the week and we start breaking above 99.27, you're gonna start seeing silver and gold retracing. Then also expecting, depending how strong that is right there. So, because on top of that, if you go to the monthly for the dollar, there's a trend line happening right now. From right here to right here to right here. So that's that monthly trend line with the dollar happening. And on the dollar, you can also see a current pattern going. I forgot what you call it, but it's right here, like this, and like this. And you have a major trend line that's breaking through here, that monthly trend line that I mentioned. So it's breaking through here, that monthly trend line that's been happening all the way since February of 2011. Pretty much whatever, but just 2011. and then it respected it on 2021 when we had that crash, and then it respected it now too. On top of that, it's on that pattern. I don't know what you call it, but this pattern right here. And if you put it where the Fibonacci's are at too, also you have a weekly 50 Fibonacci right here that it's bouncing above, which is bad also for gold and silver. That's why. And then when you check the daily, the fact that on the daily we're right above it, so it's like that's why right now is very crucial. You also see the resistance right here. We could potentially have some sort of head and shoulders. There's your shoulder, your head, including double top. There's an M2 right here. So all this is bad, but again, this area right here, that's what all this lines up together right here. Why this could be the potentially start of a we reach the high for the dollar, or you're gonna see it stalling and just consolidating. But either way, if the dollar ends up for whatever reason getting printed more, whatever fucking what they manipulate it so much, where it gets so weak that we come back down to, it's gonna test that monthly trend line again. It's gonna then it's gonna check that weekly trend line down here, and by then gold and silver are gonna be fucking rallying like fucking crazy. Ooh, yo, this month, these next 2 months are gonna be crazy with the market, yo. Especially how and where the dollar is and where silver and gold is at, and how the S&P and the Nasdaq are stalling. And you have what a coincidence! Hey, let's throw the pound loose on a Sunday right before the market is opening on the new all-time high. So then the markets could come again, buy the dip, and push it on up and fuck with us, funk retailers. I like how they play this shit, man. These fucks. See, even my indicator was telling me right now on the daily, this is your entry, and this is your stop loss, and this is where you start seeing it. If you go to the weekly, big resistance right here. That's what I'm saying. You're gonna have to need a big money amount or some big move to push the dollar through that to show you, yo, yeah, where it's not a head and shoulders. We are confirming with this bullishness above the daily and the weekly, and that'll be a confirmation. Now you'll see a pullback in silver and gold, and also in the 12-hour candle. So notice how that same area, my indicator is telling you, yo, this is your core, this is your center. We start seeing that rejection on down a dollar. That daily is still gonna be confirmed, still confirming, and you're gonna see the dollars breaking on down hitting those targets. If the dollar continues, like I said right here, and breaks finally through this double daily 12-hour double top, this confirmation is gonna be confirming, and you're gonna start seeing the target start hitting. But it's gonna be the Fed. So what is the Fed gonna pull right here? Because obviously we're not fucking moving this shit. Obviously we're not fucking printing money. Obviously we don't move with the market. So what are they gonna do? What is the next step? What is the next move? And also, I told the homie, silver's gonna hit 100 by the end of this week or by Monday, especially if Monday again more Russia this, oil this, whatnot. You're gonna see that silver open higher at fucking 95 or whatever. But we will hit 100. 100 will be another crucial emotional number, just like 50 was. You're gonna see silver hit 100, and it's gonna be stalling in there, and then that's when the dollar is gonna either end up fucking breaking through that or retracing, and that's what the move's gonna continue. Watch, yup. But silver will hit $100 by the end of the week or by Monday. Especially Monday, they say something about war. If not, easily fucking next week. Especially if we keep getting these fucking bad numbers or bad data. Or if we start getting the opposite, where it's gonna be going against the silver and dollar, that's where then you're gonna see gold. I mean, the dollar maintain that double 12-hour candle double top, and then start retracing on down a little bit slowly. So as it pushes on up, maybe it starts wicking and it starts going down. So this is gonna be a good area right here. The pattern you don't have. And the good thing about this shit is that she's like right here. It's like right here. This is exactly what we could fucking start seeing with the fucking dollar right here. This right here. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what we could start stalling right here. And then whatever fucking data they're gonna come out next week, whatever, whatnot, it's finally gonna break it. And you can see silver fucking keep on pushing above 100 as it starts fucking stalling on down. Or you're gonna see a bunch of this and slowly start breaking on up, all of a sudden type of shit. And silver will then pull back down, especially if it's in the high 98s, 97, and it will start going back down along with gold. Yup. 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 The cup and the handle. And I love how they do a bunch of 3 candle boxes right here. And especially they form, for example, yesterday. Yesterday I saw silver and the 8 hour candle. It created a new all-time high. In the next 8 hour candle, especially, it was gonna close in the watch. Let me show you real quick. I even if I can, I'll do a screenshot of me telling the homegirl. 8 hour candle right here. So on Monday or Tuesday, we create a new all-time high. And then at 8 o'clock, we close this right here. And I think that was the end of the day. Let me see. What the fuck is right here? Sorry for the fucking bullshit, you guys. I know I'm just trying to make this real quick, my point. So here we had 8 o'clock. Then after that, silver started stalling. And of course they do all this shit where it'll create a new all-time high over the night and into the morning, 3-4 o'clock. As the market is getting ready to open, it starts reclining on down. And then right there, the whole day you struggle if it's gonna continue going on down, if it's gonna continue going on up. The market closes, Asia or however the fuck this work, then pushes back up, and then your trade that you thought was gonna go down is now reversing. So I say, look, this 8 hour candle right here is gonna be my confirmation on where to go for a buy or a sell as it completes onto after the market closes. You know, because you gotta pay attention how it closes. Gold and silver closed at 8 p.m. So if you can see where silver was around 7 o'clock, 8 p.m., it would tell you a lot where the next candle was gonna be heading to or whatnot. So if you take a look right here, the market closes, it opens again, and then bam, right back inside the box. Let me draw the box. The box is right there pretty much. It goes inside, it goes back upside. You go in right here, you put my indicator. It probably would have told me right there to buy it. I know, sorry for the crayon bullshit. Let me go to the 30 or 15. It probably would have told me right there and there. Yeah, right here. So on the 50-minute time frame, it's already telling me to go for a buy right here, this price. So this is the area that I was paying attention to right here. Actually down here. So in the 50-minute candle, and it's inside the box. So you see how even if the 50-minute candle, my indicator was telling me this is your entry, these are your targets. So besides my indicator telling me that this was a good entry price right here, what was telling me was these candles and how they would play out during the Asia and Europe market, and just the pattern of it. Because if I'm in the United States, but I'm seeing that silver is going down, well, I'm going based off whatever the fuck I'm going based off my indicators, the dollar, whatever the fuck it is. But seeing how It just created new all-time high. All the people that are also just seeing this shit, that they just saw silver create a new all-time high, you think it's gonna sell off and people are gonna sell their stocks, especially with whatever data was coming out the next day, especially with the wars happening. I'm like, no. So it was important for me to pay attention to that box and how it closed the next 4 candles for gold and silver, especially your 8 o'clock 4 candle, and then from there how it holds. And then from there, I know how that 8 hour candle was gonna close at the end of the day. At the end of that 8 hour candle, which was at 16, which is that 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 5 p.m. So right here, I would have gone in right here, and then I would have held it, especially towards the morning, because of how the market is gonna react to it. This is counter right here. If it would have also, it wasn't a 4 candle trend line. Sorry for that bullshit. Silver was on this 4 hour candle trend line right here. If it goes up, it hits right here, it hits right there. So as long as it sustains that trend line, let me take my indicator off along with other indicators and just actually let me take everything off. That way you just see what I'm seeing. I'm trying to point out. Here we have the 4 candle. Red is for 4 candle. Right there. 4 candle. So there's a trend line in the 4 candle. All right. Along with that, weekly, then you had this 4 candle, right? I mean, this weekly 3 candle box. And again, look how they play out. That's why I like catching these 3 candle boxes. And what will give it off is the second candle. Whether it be a weekly, whether it be a daily, whether it be a 12-hour candle, the second candle, especially after a rally, is what tells me, especially if I know that next day we have impact data that can affect rate cuts, and rate cuts affect the silver and gold. They want that rate cuts type of shit to happening, and then that panicking with solve all this shit. So you put all shit together. Last week, I said, "Yo, look, pay attention how silver and silver and gold are closing. Let me show you gold. Let me take all this. I'm gonna take all this bullshit off. And notice how silver and gold close in the same fucking pattern. The weekly 3 candle box. So what I told me was like, yo, if we complete this 3 candle box, we're either gonna close at the resistance or break out a little bit, and next data is gonna end up, pushing it up, especially if we get that bad data. Not considering that there were gonna be shit going on with Venezuela and the oil and all that shit going on over the weekend. The market then opened. At $80, and then from there it started going on up on that Monday. So that was a way that also I could have seen this move happening if I was a day trader. Imagine you're doing futures. You're doing futures, and you're seeing this pattern happening. So that's the way I use these 3 candle boxes. Now let me go to the daily, and then I wait to catch any good 3 candle boxes. Nothing in the 12-hour candle. And then we have another one right here. And this is the current one. So on top of that, we're on a daily, on a 4-hour candle trend line. 4-hour trend line. On top of that, we're currently on an 8-hour 3 candle box. So see where it's lined up, where this could have been your breakdown, and this is your where they might fuck you, where like, oh look, it's hanging on this trend line. This 8 hour candle closed right on it. If the next 4 candle doesn't do this and that, and some of them get confused or they see that way. But if you also see, not just take the data, not just take the candles, but if you also put the geopolitical into this, if you put all these things together, if you able to put where your Fibonacci's are at least my brain starts breaking down how all this could play out, especially if we're halfway into the week or on a Thursday. Then you go and see what next week, what's coming up. Because you're so panicking right now. It's like, oh shit, man, we're dumping. Fuck, man, should I sell my stock? Should I sell my crypto? It's like, bro, wait, like, why don't you look into next week? And what I do is I go to ChatGPT, I copy and paste the week, and I tell it, yo, it already knows me, so it ranks what's gonna be important. It tells me what the data is. It tells me what the expectations are, what happens if they don't, where it's not reliable, but it just gives you, especially if you give it the sentiment of the market, and will get a more accurate. If you, it knows that I want a sentiment, so tell me what happened today, how the sentiment right now, how it can play into Asian and Europe market, what to look, especially if it then will take the data and the sentiment and take it on to the next day to see then how the markets are perceiving. Even though I can look at it, it's more of a confirmation. Like, yes, this is what I see too. This is what I see, and it makes sense. And then that data, as you see what the Fed pays attention to, then you know what the fuck, what data to pay attention to. It's not like the Fed is just saying, hey, here, so we don't we're not gonna cut interest rates. Yeah, we don't know why. What are we looking forward to? We don't even know. We don't even know what data. We don't even know. We don't know. So, but next time we come in, we'll let you know. No, they tell you, like, yo, this is the data that we're paying attention to. They ask them, yo, so what do you think about this? We can't make a comment. We're reliable on the data day by day. So, investors, if you're smart, be like, oh, so you just say what you care for. You care about the labor market, right? So, this and that, unemployment, all this data. Oh, it's gonna come out Tuesday, and the S&P is right now right here in the 4 candle. And then especially if you know there's patterns with this. Again, this is all run by computers too, so computers run in patterns. Computers don't just run and jump and this and that. You also mean to tell me that on this 8 hour candle, just this 3 candle box right here, and right when the 8 hour candle was about to close, the last investor said, hold up, I'm gonna put my 2 million, well, my 1 million to make it close at 88,200 and so whatnot. And then the next one closes, makes a move, and then like, wait, this next 8 hour candle, wait, oh, hold up. I'm about to make my bet. I did it right before the 8 hour candle closed. And then it just so happened to close right in these perfect areas. No, it's run by computers. It's run by we're in the age of fucking technology. This whole New York Stock Exchange yelling whatnot and shit is beyond that. We're computer. We got AI bots. We got all the shit that move the market. It's no coincidence that these candles end up closing in the right particular area, move at the right time, close at the right 4 hour candle, close at the right 8 hour candle price to form this tweet. This move right here. You go daily. Let me see what the daily is at. The dailies are orange, so this will be orange, marked as orange for daily. I'll go to the next one, mark it off. That way I know they're gonna be strong resistors. So let me go to the weekly just to be sure down there. Besides that, then I will go maybe to a 12 hour candle. Yellow. So of course they wasn't here because we were paying attention to this 8 hour candle. I'll pay attention to where the 8 hour candle left. That's why it's important to close where these candles close, because then as they end up popping up in the smaller time frames, I can then be, oh shit, we're gonna form a 3 candle box right here. And especially you'll notice sometimes that the market will close a month somewhere past here, and it'll be right where the market will be closing an 8-hour candle or a daily. And then it just so happens that the next day is gonna be CPI, or it's gonna be the Fed's gonna talk. So you're like, oh shit, look, we closed right above a monthly support now that we just broke. The Fed's gonna talk at whatever 12 o'clock. We got data coming up in the morning, so either we're gonna break. Oh, dude, it's gonna be your watch. Either the day's gonna end up, this 8-hour candle's gonna end up having a fall breakdown, and then when the Fed talks with so and so is gonna break through it, complete the 3 candle box, and so whatnot. Meanwhile, you're not seeing, others aren't seeing that way. They're seeing it from their own perspective, point of view, whatnot. But this is how I put all this shit together, and especially if along in the middle there's a weekly or this and that, I know which hour to pay attention to, because every 4-hour candle has that sweet spot, that weakness spot, that reversal spot or whatnot. That way, there's a certain time that you gotta pay attention to these candles, especially the S&P and the Nasdaq. But also gold and silver have these patterns, and you will see how they come out in the. Anyways, so then I'll go to a 4-hour candle market. 4-hour candle is red. So all this would fucking tell me right here how, hey, there's that 4-hour trend line, and it respected through the night, and now we're coming to the 4-hour candle closing at, what did I say, 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock? So say, there's a 15, so he says, actually at 4 o'clock. So that's where we close the day, I want to say, right? Day was down there. I get confused with these fucking timings. I don't know if the 1-hour candle fucking done that. Okay, my bad. So yeah, so here we close. So the fact that we held this and went back inside, and then also look at my indicator. This right here is pretty much, it's like a rally support indicator. As long as we stay in this cushion, we're in the rally stage. And notice how it's right where the weekly, where the 4-hour trend line is at. So the fact that we create cushion here, along with whatever Fibonacci there was right here at that time, we don't have any right now because the market has already moved. So all the Fibonacci that were at this time right here have moved. So anyways, that's how I use these candles to go in on, whether it be on futures or options, or see how they could play out along with what data, and not really go in on these. I have a weird way of seeing the market. And then gold had the same shit. Let me go. So I had that weekly, that breakout, and we created new all-time high. And then for gold, it was this right here. Whereas the gold wasn't creating nothing really in the 8-hour candle like silver was. I was glancing through it because I knew it has to be alone and it has to be clear. And once I got right here to the daily, because if you look at the 12-hour candle, it's really no pattern, nothing to it. You go onto your daily, and I was like, oh, okay, we're new all-time high. We created a resistance. The next one is gonna create our support. It's gonna hold in there depending on the day tomorrow, how the market opens. There's gonna be a sweet spot where the market should reverse in here, or depending how we hold through the night, this is gonna be our sweet spot too long for the morning or whatnot. And again, I would have came by, marked it up real quick, because by then it already will have lines first. What I do every time a candle closes, I check and I mark them up real quick. That way, when I'm in the smaller time frames, higher time frames, I know how fuck what's happening. The 1-hour candle, 2-hour candle, how is it playing out? What's the play in the higher time frames, and how would it? What would it hit? Is there a monthly or a weekly below here that they'll create support, and then based on that, any tweets or how the market then reverses, all the little things that my fucking brain pays attention to or whatnot. So yeah, that was by himself. So there's no weekly or daily or or monthly above or below it or nothing. So this will be the by itself right there. Remember that orange is for daily. So I like to have the outlines of these boxes in the color of the time frame too. That way they play out. And here we see that we come Tuesday morning. Again, we close in the bad position where you are seeing this as a retail trader and being fuck. Well, I don't really know how the dollar was gonna move the dollar uh, tomorrow or what. So should I go? It's probably gonna go down because it did a double top and maybe and then it came down to the same support and it's closing a forward candle in the negative below so and so whatnot. So that's when you are the option trader, you do some crazy shit and you go for yourself from here to tomorrow or for the day thinking it's gonna keep on going down and you get fucked. And then from there, finally, when the market opens and the next 8 hour candle is about to complete and break through, you finally go in. Because what you gotta pay attention to is to your where your 8 o'clock is at. Are you looking at 7, 8 o'clock? So let's see, 7 o'clock would be 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 19, 20. So by 19 and 20, it would have break down. So your key present would have been how we closed at 4 and where we were between 4 and 7. Because at the same time, that is important. That's a big gap, especially for that area you want to pay attention to. So we closed the market at 12, 1. So we closed down here. Then we opened at 4, 5, 6. Your 6 as your sweet spot. 4 to 8. So your sweet spot is your 5:45 to 6:30. That's a time I will pay attention to it because once we get to your what did I say? Close to 4 o'clock, so 5:45 to 6:30. Because once we get to your 6:30, that's when we're coming to the last hour, close to 7. So that will really move a lot, show us a lot of where it's gonna end up closing up, especially in the last 30 minutes of that 6:30 place and where it held in between. Especially if you know, first of all, that this box is where it needs to hold. Second, if you know that this 1 hour candle is where it was telling you, hey, this is where you need to hold to fucking rally. On top of that, pay attention to where your 4 candles were closing to the market opening again and the market seeing holding those prices through the Asian or Europe time will then bring the rally moving on up, especially with the data that came out and all that shit and whatnot. I'm gonna make another video talking about these lines right here and how to mark them, why I mark them, how I read the market, these boxes. I like to dissect the market into sections. Even though I have all this shit right here, I can zoom in and can break everything down, know what the fuck it means to where like we're regular people because I taught me this shit. I taught me how to read the market my way. So I understand how people think it's crayon, think it's bullshit, think it's because there's so many I understand this. I've been there so long with that I understand the point of view that they have on people like me that start doing all these drawings and doing all these random shit where people professionally just keep, use 2, 3 indicators and mark off 1 or 2, 3 areas and they use those 2 areas and they have their own strategy. So what I learned from this market is that it's like life. We all fucking live through life. But we all have our own perspective of view of how life works. So what is it that makes wars, or why is it that the way we see things our way? Same thing with the market. We're all seeing the same thing. We're all seeing the same candles. We're all seeing the same shit at the same time. But we're using so many different. You look at the indicators as a ways to look at the market. So in a way, for my perspective way to look at the market, just like my perspective of how to look at the world, how to look at the world through these So same thing with the indicators. It's just using these indicators based on how they're closing and what they're moving. These indicators tell me the market is gonna do this or is doing this because of this and that. Some of you may say the market moved because of the data. Some of it could move been hedge funds or all these different points of view. But if you some way can have your own way of looking at the market, like do it. A bunch of these fucks now is copy and paste. Copy and paste. So if you're doing copy and paste, and there's thousands of people that are copy and pasting like you are right now, what do you think fucking that hasn't been working? What do you think? Because we're fucking copy and pasting, we're all looking at the market the same way, and they know this shit. But I created my own way of looking at the market from scratch. Another reason why this creates support is because we have a trend line going on right here too, I think, that we just broke. So like I said, it's gonna come and test it. And we have a 50 Fibonacci, the trend line's right here. It's typical shit. It's gonna close here, and then tomorrow, on Thursday, it's gonna be we're gonna either create. Look, we're gonna close right here. Asia is gonna buy. We gotta pay attention at after 7 o'clock, but most likely from 4 or from here till 4 o'clock, we're gonna get struggling in this area right here, especially above this Fibonacci. We may close it up, but we'll start waking it, just closing right beneath it. There's no way the market in the last 30 minutes gonna make this shit. So we're gonna wick right here, and what's gonna happen? The next 4 candles after that at 4 o'clock, or at or the market opens at close at 3 o'clock. At 3 o'clock, you're gonna see it struggling. Start closing below here. Once we get to like past 7, you should take more action. That's where Asia's gonna get more action. So either by 7, it's 7 to 11, 11 to 3. So from 7:45, no, 8:45, 8:45 to 9:30. If by 8:45 to 9:30 we don't break this area right here, or even this Fibonacci, we're gonna struggle in this area right here. Then from 11 o'clock to 3, we're gonna have to pay attention to 12:45 to 1:30. Oh no, we close at 2, right? We close at 2. So it's gonna be from 10. So my bad. It is 7:30, right? We close a 4 candle. Las 11. 15, los 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7. 7, yeah, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, 7, 11. So your 8:45 to 9:30, you pay attention to that shit. So let me go back to a 1 hour time frame. Oh, we're at 2 hour time frame? Oh no, 30-minute time frame. So we're gonna close the day right here. By 8:45 to 9:30, we're gonna have to break this area right here to sustain above this 30-minute 50 Fibonacci. That way, from 11 to 3, we end up breaking through this and being up here. Wait for the market to open, release the data, and we're back up at all-time highs, and everybody's happy again. Or what's gonna happen is we're gonna struggle in this range and stay below and wait for the market to open, and then get confirmed, and either we're gonna, or especially if by your 8:45 to 9:30 we're struggling and we're already heading down, we're gonna form some sort of H pattern right here. So you're gonna see this. You're gonna see this happening where it goes up, but then starts going down. And depending on that day how it opens, we're gonna continue it or keep on falling with it. So stay in shape with this. We're either gonna end the day somewhere weak tomorrow, and then throughout the night continue. Or throughout the night end up falling, forming the H, or we're gonna sustain this and end up breaking it up as we get news in the morning. I'm gonna put on my bullshit back up again. Yeah, that's where the trend line's at. We're gonna struggle in this region, depending on 8:45 to 9:30 and 12:45 and 1:30. How we break through this throughout the night. If we keep rejecting this price right here, 6,941 and 6,948, the market's gonna start retracing on down, forming some sort of pattern, rejecting that daily trend that we're trying to now recover above, and continue on this. And then you have the banks. Again, you have the banks, you got earnings. You have earnings. It's gonna be volatile as fuck. And again, it feels like we're going to this plane that lost the engine and it's just stalling. Trying to go higher, but just stalling. And then also, we're coming to a weekly trend line. So the NASDAQ has been on this weekly trend line since down here. Let me take all this shit out. So let me take my indicator off. A weekly is blue. So we were hanging on that trend line. I just did that so you guys can see it better, but it makes it fucking worse. Anyways, so yeah, we've been on the trend line, and then we already tested it. See, that's what we are. That's why all this shit lining up, the NASDAQ not breaking that weekly resistance in December 1st. This does touchdown to the weekly. That's why we're either squeezing and they're fucking trying to kill it. See. Uh-huh. Simón. No se me toca un Kevin. Ajá. Allá van a comer pizza o hot dog. Ah, ok. Solo para allá. Hey. ¡Chiu! No. ¿Y eso? No, no sabía. ¿Y se vienen cuando? ¿El domingo o qué? ¿El lunes? No, ya sé, pero está bien, pero que porque yo lo mal íbamos a ir el lunes para allá, a ver si lo mal que yo me voy con ustedes y ahí lo veo yo con la princesa allá de él. Pero creo que va a ir hasta allá, si no, creo que lo mal íbamos a ir. No, no, pero no, creo que íbamos a Nogales. Entonces, sí, sí, entonces está bien ahí, Simón, sí. Pero no sé si él va a querer ir o qué rollo. Pero, pero ok, ahí la veo pues. Sí, voy, sí, voy. Sí, sí, sí. Ajá. Sí, 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 pues que nomás le caiga así, que te diga, pues, ¿qué? Ajá, sí, no sé, no sé, no sé. Ey, sí, voy, sí, voy, sí. Sí, sí, no, no, está bien, está bien, está bien. Muy bueno. Bye, bye. Ah, you fucks. So yes, this is gonna be probably a squeeze, and that's why it's so volatile right now. But it gave me more of a fucking red flags. Nasdaq. Okay, I tell you too much. Anyways, now we wait how the market closes, and I'll be back at 7. I'll be back at 7. I'm gonna be trying futures tonight. So and then hopefully gold retrace on down and silver, but I think they're not. They're gonna continue going. Yeah, when I want them back to come back down into the zone here, which we could potentially see it throughout the night. But that's what I want to see because I'm not seeing really a strong push. It's more of a choppy breakout. So I want to see that. I want to see some sort of there's another 3 candle box, but I want to see more patterns. I want to see more structure, not this choppiness. Same thing with gold, I believe. Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. I'm seeing more of a withdrawing down. I'm seeing a strong bullishness. This is not strong to me. Um, you want to break out of this area to really tell me, okay, we're gonna continue going up, you guys. Right here is they're waiting for something, or or at the same time, the dollar keeping that strength is also what's keeping it from really breaking on up. That's why you see it still here. Ah, you see here, the dollar still maintaining that strength above the daily too. But if you continue, the dollar could start breaking on down below the daily, and then silver could start rallying, but not out of a clean structure, just rallying choppiness or whatnot. And then potentially Friday or by Monday, we could start seeing it either we want a strong breakout of this area or strong breakout of this area to confirm us. Otherwise, it's going to be more of a consolidating stage. And you guys see gold and silver do that all choppy, consolidating. And I already told you which S&P and the NASDAQ. So yeah, that's all you guys. All right, this is Brian Seacrest signing the fuck out.